Hello everyone and welcome back to more Seduce Me to the Demon War. We are back again with the Incubi brothers and of course the Demon War in the Abyssal Plains. Because in the last episode we have just only finished Eric's route, finally concluded it by going back and doing a whole bunch of just all the different choices and all the possibilities that we can get out of making all these like variations of choices. So yeah, we finally concluded his route, moved on from him, and then are finally starting James's route right here, which is next, because I did say before starting the game as a whole that we're gonna go this way. So yeah, so next up in line is James. So like I have said previously, before starting Eric's route as well, I'm going to pick up I'm going to pick up after the demo left off. So I'm not going to include the good portion of the beginning part because I'm pretty sure the demo and the beginning part here, even though it's the full game, is going to be the exact same. Like, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm probably not going to waste your guys' time because, you've already watched it from my demo, which, if any of you haven't watched it from my demo, you should really do that before you jump back in here to the main storyline of the main full game, because I'm basically gonna make the same choices as I did in James's route in the demo version. So like all the beginning choices, I'm gonna make them the exact same. For a quick reminder for you guys who are too fucking lazy to go back and to watch the demo, a paraphrased version of what exactly happened in that good portion is that we start off in James's route where we are in a dream. Well, we didn't know it was a dream, but we were basically locked up in a dungeon somewhere with Diana as our friendly neighbor, like cellmate. So we're in this dungeon, and then we don't know exactly how we got there, but we're completely drained, and we're so out of it. But then obviously James shows up, and he's a totally different guy. He's not the James that we knew. He's all like sadistic, and he's all like evil, and he's basically not the same guy we knew. So what ended up happening in that dream sequence is that he comes into our cell. We are his prisoner to do as he pleases and to like take our energy as he pleases. And in that very same happenings, he ended up killing Diana with his gun because she tried to stop him from forcefully taking our energy. So there's that, and we wake up from that nightmare, quote quote nightmare, and we were freaked out, but then James comforted us, and we had a little bit of sexy time, and then afterwards, I think the very next day when, Hana was getting ready for the wedding, or was making preparations for the wedding, she ended up calling Sam's wife, which was Carrie, and we wanted her to come over and to talk about the whole dream or nightmare that she had. So she ended up telling her about it, and then Carrie, who is also like a witch, she does a tarot reading for us, and it turns out, one of the thing that happened was there was like this whole shebang of I wouldn't call it a flashback because it's not a flashback. It's like this like little clip where the room goes crazy, the tarot cards go flying, and Hana hears the war going on in the Abyssal Plains, and she doesn't know exactly where it's coming from. And then all the tarot cards turned out to be, I think, was it the lovers or something like that? I can't remember, but it was the lovers or something. It showed her like a version of her and a version of James on the card, and it was torn in half. Like all of them were torn in half, right down the middle where like they're supposed to connect. So there's that. We had that. It's a little bit of some sort of foreshadowing going on. And then afterwards, I think that's all that's left really. I think she tried to talk to James about it, or I made her talk to James about it, but then James was like, no, I would never do that, I would never hurt you, and we're like, okay, cool. And then what else happened? I'm trying to remember up to the point where she gets sucked into the Abyssal Plains. I think that's it basically, where like James leaves first to go to the church or the chapel, and then Hana would come later in the limo. And it's either in his route or in either Sam's, or I don't even know, but I think she makes it as far as the graveyard at her grandfather, the cemetery, visiting her grandfather's grave, and then that's why she gets sucked in to the Abyssal Plains because she made the rain stop because it suddenly started raining. So yeah, that's what ended up happening, and then afterwards you get the whole shebang of how she's stuck there for like about 2-3 days. Diana can't send her back because the demon lord cursed her, and on her second attempt of trying to send her back through the portal thing, it didn't work, and then that's when the guys and their in-laws, I suppose, drop in, and then, you know, we get a whole family reunion, and that's it. That's what we're gonna pick up. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, I'm just gonna like go right ahead.
Hold on there! Before you start the game, I need to ask you a few things. Don't want you getting lost now.
And I'm pretty sure Kay is gonna say the same thing that she did in Eric's beginning route, like this portion here, disclaimers and all that shit. And for the part that because we started James route, I'm pretty sure she's gonna change it. Instead of saying, the second oldest, then I'm pretty sure she's gonna say, you are aware that this is James's route, who's the oldest incubus. So yeah, I'm just gonna skip all this portion, and then yeah, I just go right ahead to where the demo left off.
Oh, awesome! Alright then. James is pretty cool, huh? It's the glasses, isn't it? You can tell me.
Yeah, okay, whatever, Kay.
Anyway,
yeah.
I have one last question for you.
I'm skipping you. Sorry, I already know. Okay, finally made it to the part where, yeah, all the in-laws in our bay came in and they dropped in through the portal. And, yeah, so now we can finally pick up where the story is, like, it's gonna change. So yes, four women dropped down from the tear and somehow managed to fall into the arms of the incubi behind James. So it's like kind of like what happened with Eric. So that's it's kind of yep. There's Carrie and Sam, and then there's Twilla, and then there's Damien.
Whoa. Are you okay?
Yes.
I gotcha. It's okay.
Eric.
Oh hey, we meet Irene, who is Eric's bae. If we hadn't romanced him, that's so cute.
Love. I've got you!
Yo, she's looking fab, okay? Like, goddamn. Oh wait, is she a demon? Does she have... are those horns? I don't want to assume. What? I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too. Yes, of course. Yes, I watched as the boys and the girls finally planted themselves on the ground before looking around. As James spotted me, however, he quickly rushed over. And since we're not doing Eric's route where we have the whole, what the hell, disgusted spirit haunting us, then like yeah, we good.
Love,
come here into my arms. Yes, James. To my surprise, Diana quickly moved out of the way, allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here, and I could hug him. Oh my god. I instantly wrapped my arms around his body, burying my face in his shoulder and taking in his scent. His head gently nuzzled into my shoulder as James curled over to bring my body close to him.
Thank God you're safe.
I know, I mean, at least I didn't, like, end up in the wilderness, yeah? You came for me. Of course you did. I could barely believe it, but I did. The scent of his cologne and the texture of his clothing let me know that I wasn't dreaming. He came to find me. So loyal. Now the question was, how would we both leave? I have no idea. This is what we're gonna figure out together. James gently loosened his embrace and looked at Diana, who was standing by our side and watching. I couldn't see her expression, but Diana stared wide-eyed, almost in fear of James. Why? Well, he is her ex-fiancé, and, she did cause a shitstorm when she tried to bring him back in the first game, so yeah. As James began to speak, I felt some sort of violent power change in the room. While Diana held dominance before the incubi had arrived, it was practically ripped from her as James claimed me once again in his arms.
Care to explain why my bride is here, Diana?
Now, James, it's not her fault. Let's just chill before we go around pointing fingers.
Your father.
Yes. I looked up at James to see him staring Diana down as if he didn't believe her explanation. Oh, come on, James. Tighten the hug, do nothing. Tighten the hug. James, you need to... Oops. James, you need to fucking chill. You need to find your chill. I know you're upset right now, but you need to find your chill. I tightened my hug around his chest, earning a soft squeeze from him in return, but he continued to glare at Diana. Okay, that really didn't do anything, but whatever.
And why have you not sent her back?
Well, we just tried that, bae, okay?
Again, your father.
Yeah, it's his fault. I watched as James' eyes closed further, almost hiding his whiskey-brown irises in an unimpressed and unconvinced glare.
As much as I despise my father, why do I have a hard time believing that?
Well, what? I know Diana has done you wrong in the past, James, but seriously, this isn't, it wouldn't make sense. From beside Diana, the spear guard stepped up and I'm like butchering the sentence. I can feel it, so let's start over. From beside Diana, the spirit guard stepped up and crossed his spear across Diana's body in an act of protection. He seemed unfazed by James's glare and almost felt like he was challenging him from the power play thrashing in the air. It was like James and Diana were opposing alphas and the guard was a protective mate.
Believe what you will. My lady was about to send her back before you came.
I can second that, James. He's telling the truth. They're telling the truth. James looked to the guard and visibly sized him up. The guard glared, tightening his grip on his spear, but remained beside his mistress. As James looked back to Diana, his hold on me tightened.
Go on.
Yeah. Diana sighed softly and placed a hand on the guard's shoulder, looking at him, but the guard refused to turn himself or his spear away from me and James.
He cast a curse on your bride-to-be, barring her from leaving this world alive.
Yep, pretty much.
A curse?
Yeah, do not leave cursed.
Yes. She can't leave this world unless she dies, or until we kill the Demon Lord.
Uh-huh. I could feel James's arms tense around me. For some reason, the look in his eyes changed from anger to almost hopefulness. Was he hoping that he would be able to leave? I hoped so.
Now, I must ask that you recognize whose kindness you are testing.
Okay, Sayro, jeez, goddamn.
Settle.
Yeah, we were just, de-escalating the situation here, we're trying to get this in control, we're all kind of chilling now, no need to, provoke. Diana tightened her hand on the guard's shoulder, almost digging her nails into his jacket. However, her eyes remained on James, now submissive to his dominant stare on her.
We have been fighting him consistently and have successfully pinned him into a corner. Our next attack will be on the Demon Lord's castle, and it will be the final battle.
Yep, pretty much.
Succubus, if I may.
What, Shadow? God.
No, you may not.
No, he didn't even say anything, he just said no. The lanky man stared wide-eyed at Diana, but she ignored him. Instead, she continued to stare up at James, unfazed at her harsh tone towards her companion. James eventually released me from his embrace and faced Diana and her guard, standing tall and almost looking down his nose at them. Man, he must be hella tall. Jeez, actually, he is hella tall. Goddamn, I just realized.
And when do you plan to attack him?
Soon time. With a nasty snarl, the larger demon male stepped forward and glared hard at James. I felt my body tense in reflex, but James continued to stand tall. I mean, he's probably the only tallest one here that can out-tall James. So.
Why the fuck should we tell you?
Oh no. Guys, please.
1 week's time.
Yep. 1 week's time. Everyone in the room shot their heads towards Diana, mostly in shock or surprise, because she just kind of decided that on the spot.
What? 1 week?
Yep. I looked at Diana, watching her, unable to turn away from James's gaze. She wasn't entranced, but it seemed as if she wasn't able to even pull away from the gaze battle between them out of fear. Why?
Where is this number coming from, Succubus?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna go into discussion on what we would do. Would they bring up the whole we do the wall thing, or we do the sacrifice ritual thing? I think. Maybe. I'm gonna see. Yes, so basically it did end up bringing that up again, so that's a repeat. I don't know, I still don't wanna, I don't wanna do the curse thing, because it seems so I don't know, it seems like regardless, we would be, led into the same kind of timeline in which we go attacking the Demon Lord. So I don't know. I'm still gonna say the trap for now, and once everything is said and done, I'll probably go back and say the curse just to see what would happen. So yeah, for now I will go back to just saying the trap. Okay, so yeah, skip this part, and I think they're talking about how Diana was like, okay, you guys should just sit back and chill and let us fight this war, and everyone's gonna be like, hey, wait a minute, we're not gonna just sit here and do nothing. So yeah, Carrie is obviously upset. We didn't agree with it as well, so yeah.
I will not take untrained and unarmed beings into a war zone.
Okay. Hold on, yes. Oh, yes, this is the part where we do we say that we fight or some shit like that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is so right here. So we can fight too. Is this really what we should do? That's not fair, Diana. I feel I'm gonna sneeze. Okay. So we said last time we can fight too, which is true. The other one is that we can say that's not fair, Diana. So let's just say this one from this time, because yeah. It's also a fairly neutral kind of answer, Because it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair at all. I was stuck here, so it should be my choice of whether or not to fight. Yeah.
I'm only trying to make sure you all get back to the human world safely. I can't expect you all to fight in this war.
I know, Dan, homegirl. You try to be you care so much for us, but like still, I want to kick some ass.
Let me and my brothers train then. We're demons, for fuck's sake. We know how to fight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what Sam says. And then we're gonna skip on ahead and see anything different. Alright, so this is the part where Diana changed our outfit from our wedding dress to like a more appropriate attire in this world. So yeah, I blushed getting used to the feel of the outfit. The corset wasn't tight, but it was still something new along with the rest of the garb. James, however, smiled down at me and kissed over my forehead.
We'll save the wedding dress for when we return.
Yep, totes. Right.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
Yep, okay.
How are you going to get there?
Okay, so they're gonna use the shadow portal something to go do the whole wall thing. So let's skip that. Okay, so yep, they went to go, build themselves a huge wall Maria around the Demon Lord's castle. So yeah, now next we're just gonna, everyone's gonna head to their rooms or their designated rooms for the time being. So yeah, this is completely crazy. I was stuck in the demon world with the man I loved and had to wait until the war was over to even consider going home. I held James's hand tightly as we walked through the hall of the castle, now worried and remembering my nightmare once again. Oh yeah, haha. I began to feel nervous, nauseous even. There were so many things wrong about this, and there were even more things that could go wrong with this plan. Yeah, I know, right? Kill the demon lord? It's simple. It sounded simple, but this war had been going on for a while, yes. Who knew truly if this was the final battle? Oh, because James might have the possibility of going psycho on us? Yeah. James most likely felt the nervousness in my hand as he gave it a gentle squeeze, catching my attention and breaking my thoughts.
Are you okay?
Yes. I'm fine. You're here. It's all good. So I'm doing my best. I lied to him. I didn't want him to be worried about me when he had a war to help fight. I was going to have to take care of myself. Oh, I didn't realize I was lying. James stared at me for a moment, trying to read me. He was good at finding lies, so I kept up my act. James nodded, giving into my mask and continued on. Why can't I read this morning? I don't even know. Maybe I'm really tired. Okay, I'm gonna do this sentence again because I'm screwing this up. Okay. So James stared at me for a moment, trying to read me. He was good at finding lies, so I kept up my act. James nodded, giving into my mask, and continued on hand in hand with me.
We'll get through this. Just a week before we head home.
Oh, okay. Yep. We'll be honest with him later, I guess. We continued down the hall, led by our guide toward our room. The others were given rooms apparently on the opposite end of the castle, while James and I claimed the ambassador's room I had stayed in the night before. At least it was a room I was familiar with. Oh, so they're way over on the other side. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Alright. I began to space out, imagining what was going to happen. We would kill the demon lord, break the curse on me, and go home to be married. That was the plan, but what if we couldn't kill him? What if he was more powerful than we thought? James, however, gently nudged me, catching my attention and breaking me from my thoughts.
Did you know that time works differently between the human and demon worlds?
He's trying to distract us from our thoughts. Oh. I could tell that he was trying to calm me down with something else to keep my mind on. I became curious as to what he meant, but we already know how it works from Eric's route. Time works differently here?
Indeed. In this world, time moves slower. What would take a day to grow in the human world would take 5 days here.
Damn. I was astonished. Time was that different. I began to wonder, how long had I been gone from the human world if that was the case? As if James read my mind, he smiled at me.
You were gone for about 5 hours before we found you.
Oh, okay. Cool. 5 hours? I had been in the demon world for an entire day, but back home I hadn't been gone that long. It made no sense at all, but James continued to speak as I stared in shock.
When you didn't arrive at the hall, we sent everyone home and used our powers to make sure no one would be suspicious. Once everyone left, we tracked you down and came here to find you.
Nice. Yeah, we already know that happened. I nodded in reply, taking in the explanation. It was crazy to think about, but I guess it made sense. My mind wanted to fight it, but I had to remember this was a new world filled with its own rule, so human logic didn't necessarily apply here. Yeah. It didn't. It won't. We finally arrived in our room and were left alone for the night. I sat down on the bed, feeling the exhaustion of the day take over as James examined the room carefully. He walked around the room, observing each bit of decor with curious care.
So this is Lilith Castle.
Yeah, if you had married Diana, this is where you would have lived, I guess. I raised an eyebrow. This place had a name? Of course it did. Well, we only found out in the end after Eric's was done, so yeah, I can imagine or expect that she would know now. Lilith Castle? James nodded, walking over to the tapestry on the wall and examining it as he explained.
This castle was the home of the first succubus, Lilith. Demons of Lilith, like myself and my brothers, come from one of thousands of branches of her bloodline. But we're not pure-blooded incubi. Diana, however, is a pure-blooded succubus, directly descended from Lilith herself.
Wow, goddamn. My dream flashed before my eyes, reminding me of Diana's words towards James. I nodded in understanding as he continued with a small smile.
That's why her family was able to convince the demon lord to make her my betrothed. They were extremely powerful and could easily charm others, being of pure Lilith blood.
Oh, okay. Well, alright. I could only imagine it, remembering how Diana controlled an entire school like it was easy for her sent a small shiver down my spine. If she was that powerful, then how powerful was she now after so long? James chuckled a bit, breaking my thoughts.
Of course, you know what happened after that.
Yep, pretty much. I came into the picture. James finally walked over and sat beside me, softly wrapping an arm around my waist and bringing me close to him. I nuzzled his shoulder, enjoying the warmth of his body. I remembered clearly what happened. Not like I can easily forget it. James chose me after all, and I chose him. We loved each other and defied Diana's attempts to take him away because of it. I couldn't have been more proud of myself at that moment in time. James leaned down a bit and whispered in my ear, making me shiver slightly in his arms.
Besides, the woman I'm engaged to now is more amazing than any princess in all of the 5 worlds.
Aw, you shucks. You flatter me. I blushed at his words, feeling my heart skip a beat. James really did love me. Of course he does. He better be. Kiss him, cuddle him. I'm outright just kiss him. Jesus, kiss the fuck out of you. He was so sweet and caring. I felt blessed being able to be with him both as his fiancé and physically in the same world. My worries began to slowly break apart and melt in my chest as I looked up at him and leaned in, capturing his lips with my own. James seemed surprised for a moment before he let a soft groan escape his lips and kissed me back. He gently pressed a hand on the back of my head, keeping me close as we kissed each other lovingly. It was almost orgasmic, the way his lips moved against mine. God damn, girl. As we slowly pulled away from each other, letting our breaths intermingle in the space between us, James smiled. I became lost in his whiskey brown eyes, wanting so much to forever be entranced by them.
Come, let's get some sleep. We have a lot to do tomorrow.
True. Alright. I nodded and both of us settled into the bed, drifting to sleep as our heads hit the pillows. I felt at peace knowing that James was by my side. Hopefully we don't get more creepy nightmares of him. But no, I spoke too soon. No, but my peace didn't last. Why? What's Is this ooh. Okay, I only recognize one word, which is humanum, which is probably human. Human! And is this an angel? Oh my god, why is an angel haunting me? I rather the little child spirit. What the? Oh shit. I felt the void around me shift and brighten to a blinding white, causing me to shut my eyes. Feathers gently brushed against my skin, and I lurched and squirmed away from them instinctively. What was happening to me? Oh my god, girl, you sound so pissed at me for it, and I didn't even do anything yet. Oh, Diana! Diana, homegirl! Homegirl! She's always saving my ass, oh my god. Diana's voice echoed through the air, surprising me and causing me to look around. As I turned my head to look behind me, a pair of arms wrapped themselves around me and held me close. Oh my god, Diana, save me from this angel. What?
Don't struggle.
Sero, what the fuck? Sero? My god, it sounds so angry.
Et hic habet potestatum, adoro teut non exiturum.
E credere de loco isto.
What is going on, you guys? What have I done wrong? I became lost in what was happening. Nothing was making sense, but I knew that they were speaking in some form of Latin. The voices that weren't Diana and Cero, however, struck fear into my core with each word they spoke.
Cero, end this!
Yeah, they sound about they were just ready to rip my head off. On Diana's command, Cero cast some sort of spell, causing his body and mind to become enveloped in gold light. I felt every nerve in my body heat up almost uncomfortably, making me squirm slightly in Cero's arms. Cero, however, tightened his hold on me and continued casting his spell. How did I even end up there? Jesus. All I did was just go to sleep. At last, the world around me suddenly went dark, and I found myself shooting up in bed, awake. Ugh! God.
Love?
James, goddammit, why can't I have a proper, peaceful sleep? I looked to my side to see James shaken awake by my sudden outburst. His eyes were glossed over from exhaustion, but he continued to watch me with worry. This is the second time I woke him up like this. Damn it. I am so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Why are angels hunting you?
Hell I know, Diana. Goddamn. Okay, so if it's not her younger unborn sister that's haunting me, I'm getting hunted down by angels now. God damn. I'd rather Orabelle than angels. James and I suddenly shot our heads towards the sound of Diana's voice, seeing her and Cero by the door. She had her arms crossed and a look of pure irritation on her face as she waited my answer. I don't know, girl. However, I didn't know what to say. Angels were hunting me. I stared at Diana, confused as to what she meant. James sat up at last, matching her expression with irritation of his own.
What are you talking about?
I wasn't speaking to you right... James?
My eyes widened at the slip. Did she almost say James's real name? Diana growled and clicked her teeth before looking at me again, glaring harder.
Your dream almost allowed them to erase your memories.
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. My body chilled at the thought. What the hell? I was confused and fearful of what was going on. What was happening? Why were angels after me? Is it because of what I did in the first game? Is that it? James wrapped his arms around me, seeing me visibly shaken at Diana's words.
Explain, Diana.
Yeah, I need explanation.
Ask your fiancée why she's targeted by them. Don't ask me. I want to know as well.
But the thing is, I don't know. I don't know. Don't say anything. I honestly don't know. I am just telling you the truth right now, Dana. I don't know. I truly didn't know. What could I say? This was the first I heard of angels hunting me. The dream was not a dream I had. The dream was not a dream I had ever experienced before. Yeah.
Angels don't target just anyone. They have to have a reason for hunting people down to erase their memories.
Like I said, maybe I know too much. Maybe it's just because I'm a mortal human being who knows too much.
Especially when their target is in the demon world.
Well, maybe that just, further justifies their reasoning, I already know too much, and now, on top of that, I'm in the demon world when I'm not supposed to be. I held my head and shook it, trying to figure it out. Did I do something wrong? What did I do to incur the wrath of angels? Diana sighed and rubbed her temple.
Well, they've been expelled from the castle for now. For how long? Who knows? However, we need to figure out why they are trying to take your memories away.
Well, shit. Yeah, that's a problem. I don't know though. Looking up at Diana at last. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. I'm reading up ahead of myself. Looking up at Diana, I could tell that this was a serious situation. Sarah looked at the floor, exhausted from casting the spell to expel them himself. Diana growled beneath her teeth as she looked at the wall.
Another problem. Great. Can this war be any more irritating?
I'm sorry, homegirl, but I just bring problems wherever I go, okay? Especially if they involve the supernaturals. I felt myself curl up into myself a bit at Diana's irritation. I was already a problem that she was going to help solve, and now there was a second problem on top of that. James hugged me gently against his chest comfortingly, feeling me shrunk back away from Diana.
Is that all?
I guess so. From the tone of James's voice, he wanted Diana to leave immediately. Diana looked over and stared at James, a flash of slight fear in her eyes before her face hardened to a cold glare.
No. Whatever you are doing to try and make me fear you needs to stop.
Well, whoa, what is going on?
I don't know what you are talking about.
Yeah, what? So many secrets already. I don't know anything.
Say what you will, but I can recognize fear enthrallment anywhere. Thank your father for that.
Oh, James, are you telling me something that you're not? What is going on? I looked at James, seeing him glare hard at Diana while Diana simply simply glared back. When my eyes trailed to Sero, I could see a form of jealousy burn in his gaze at my fiance. What was happening? Because he obviously has feelings for Diana, but even though Diana doesn't realize it. And then, James and Diana have history together, so there's that. So, yeah. James?
Yes, love?
You need to stop whatever it is that you're doing. Diana's homegirl, okay? She's here. Diana. She's here to help, girl. Diana turned on her heel towards Sero. Now furious for some reason, Sero, seeing his mistress turn, quickly turned as well and opened the door for her.
Sleep. We have work to do tomorrow.
Okay. Bye. Diana left with Sero right behind her, closing the door. James's embrace finally relaxed around me and pulled me close. What was that about? Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, she said you were casting some sort of fear enthrallment. Were you doing it unknowingly? What? Okay, truly? Are you sure? Truly? James nodded as I turned in his arms to fully observe him. James's face seemed very genuine. Still, something was off and I knew it. It had happened when James arrived and apparently only occurred when Diana was around. It was some sort of power struggle between Diana and James, and he was winning, at least from what I could tell. I shook my head. If James didn't know what was happening, then maybe it was just my imagination. Alright, James, however, stared at me with pure concern written all over his expression.
But was Diana right? Are angels after you?
Apparently so, yeah. I don't know, I just had a dream that was full of light and feathers and, yeah, angels. Yeah, oops. A look of fear ran across James's face for a moment before he shook his head and returned to his calculated but worried expression. Was Diana correct? Was it an angel attack and not just some random dream? Yeah, it was an angel attack. For sure. My memories recalled when I was captured. The voices that appeared in my room before the imps came sounded so... The voices that appeared in my room before the imps came sounded so familiar to the ones in my dream. Had they been angels as well? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, by the way, she didn't actually make it to the cemetery. It was in Sam's route, I think. But yeah, she was only in her room, and that was what happened. I forgot what triggered it. I think it was like Diana's shadow or something like that, like who was provoking us through the mirror, and then that made Hana really upset. Or something? No, that must have been in Damien's. I don't even know what happened, what triggered it, but yeah, we heard Angel's voices in her room before she was pulled down by the imps into the Abyssal Plains. This was crazy. What was going on? First I'm cursed, then I'm hunted. This was unbelievable in every sense of the word. Nothing made sense, and this entire situation was confusing. Yes. What would angels want with me? My memories, apparently. James shook his head and kissed my forehead.
Well, they're gone now. Let's get some more sleep.
Okay. I nodded, wrapping my arms around James and lying back with him. He slowly began to pet my hair, most likely waiting for me to sleep first before he did. Slowly, I closed my eyes and let the darkness of sleep take over me once again. This time, there were no rocky dreams. I simply floated in the darkness until I naturally woke up, still in James's arms. Ah, hello. I looked up at James's sleeping face, so peaceful and almost happy. His arms around my form made me feel warm and fuzzy inside, causing me to cuddle closer to his body. Unconsciously, James pulled me closer to him, wrapping his arms tighter around me. I could tell that he was awake, however. His breathing wasn't slow like it usually was when he slept. James, are you awake? No response. He was pretending, which made me giggle a bit. Little things like this took my mind off the world and made me forget my troubles, whatever they were. I guess that was the blessing of being in love. Ha! I smiled and kissed James's cheek, making his smile grow a bit more. I knew it. I knew you were awake. I know you're awake, yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you're talking to me. What is this? Sleep talking then? I laughed and playfully smacked his upper arm, making him laugh as well, and opened his eyes to look at me with a loving but tired gaze. I became once again lost in his eyes as he smiled at me.
Good morning. Did you sleep better?
Yeah, for sure. For sure I did. I nodded, knowing that he would be happy to hear it. I was more than happy to say it before snuggling into his arms, nuzzling his chest. What about you? Did you sleep well? James nodded and ran his hand through my hair, petting me lovingly.
I did. All I did was dream of you.
Aww, you so sweet. A soft blush formed on my cheeks before I looked up at him, seeing him smile down at me.
It's the truth. Would you like to hear?
Sure, why not? I felt myself nod before I even tried to think about the question. James smirked a bit before wrapping his arms fully around me and leaning in to whisper in my ear. Is it something?
I dreamt that we were on a private island, basking in the sand beneath the sun. The wind was perfect, and you looked absolutely stunning in your swimsuit.
Alright. Go on. I began to imagine it myself, causing the blush on my face to intensify. As James tightened his hug around me, my body began to heat up on its own from the warmth his body gave me.
Then you pulled me into a kiss, one that I couldn't help but melt into. You kept teasing me until I pinned you down against the sand, and I made you beg for me to kiss you.
Alright. Anything else? James peppered kisses along my neck, making my body shiver at both the image of his dream and the feeling of his lips upon my skin. I let out a silent but shaky sigh as James nuzzled my head, opening his mouth to say more. Alas, our moment was broken by a loud knock on our door.
Oi! Quit fucking him there! You got food for— Go! Little shit!
We weren't doing anything like that, Sam, okay? We were progressing to it, but you managed to stop it before it happened. Thanks.
Oh, I don't want to imagine that, dude. We do have food, though. May we come in?
Sure, yeah. Why not? And let's talk about my angel dream and how I'm being hunted. James and I let out a simultaneous sigh. So much for enjoying the moment. This was the misfortune of not being alone. I knew that we would eventually have our alone time together, but for now, a blush of embarrassment ran across my cheeks in response to Sam's allegation. James smiled and kissed my forehead before lifting his head and sitting up. Okay.
Come on in. We just got up.
Yep. Still fully clothed, mind you. I sat up as well right as the door opened to the hallway, revealing James's brothers and their wives with plates of food. Eric and Irene each carried 2 plates and handed the extra to me and James. Aw, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Irene.
My pleasure.
Ah. On the plate of food, I recognized bread, cheese, fruit, and some sort of jerky. I assumed it was safe and something I could stomach. James placed his plate on his lap before looking to the group.
So, training starts today.
Yep, pretty much.
Finally! I get to kick some ass.
I know, right? Let off some steam. Get a workout.
You kick ass anyway, you dork.
Oh, that's true, because you are a police officer. Sam blushed and rubbed his neck before stuffing his face with food, not wanting to say any more. Matthew laughed and nodded.
We know what you mean, dude. We can finally kick that old man's ass.
Right.
Not to be the skeptical brother here, but is it possible to become stronger than him in just a week? It's been a while since we've had any encounter involving combat after all.
That is true.
We'll kill him.
Oh, Damien, Jesus. Everyone looked to Damien, seeing his stern and cold expression. I frowned, knowing why Damien was so angered at the Demon Lord. As the bastard's son, Damien had been left for dead and only survived thanks to his brothers. Yeah, that's true. He would have the most animosity towards him. Damien had more reason than most to hold a grudge against the Demon Lord. James, however, cleared his throat and looked to Eric.
We won't be fighting him alone. This rebellion will help us and allow us to focus our energy on defeating him.
True, we gotta work together as a team. It's a group effort.
I've been waiting years to kick his arrogant brute face in.
Yeah, you'll get the chance. No, not really. Maybe it's gonna be us in the final moment battle kind of thing.
I think we all have a grudge against him, Sam.
Well, yeah, one way, one form or another.
We got this.
Yeah, sure.
I would not be so sure.
Hey, now. Everyone turned to see Sero in the doorway alone, leaning against the archway with his arms crossed.
Oh, Sarah, where is...
My mistress had a rough night. She's still recovering from it.
Oh, okay. I grimaced, knowing that the reason she had a rough night was because of me. Sero, however, seemed to be re-energized and somewhat bright-eyed. His gaze landed on James and glared hard, causing my fiancé to strain up a bit. Oh.
None of you know what has happened these past 10 years. None of you know of the Demon Lord's true strength.
Okay, sorry for being ignorant then. Jesus, we only just got here.
Then would you care to enlighten us?
Yeah. At last, Sarah pushed out the doorway and walked further into the room, closing the door behind him. He looked to each brother, examining each man before settling his gaze on James again. Settling his gaze on James again, God.
The Demon Lord is a madman.
No shit.
You don't need to tell us that.
Yeah.
No. He was mad before, but he lost his mind completely when my mistress formed the rebellion against him. He's killed thousands by his own hand alone out of pure rage.
Yeah, and also to keep me here. Sewa's grip on his spear tightened as something resurfaced in his thoughts, reflected in his glare.
Too many times has my lady faced off against him and almost lost her life in exchange.
God damn. Sewa's cold stare rehardened itself on his face as he shook away the thought and looked to Damien, who had a stony expression to match.
What makes you think that you, a band of humanized demons, have any chance of destroying him on your own?
That's why we're gonna work together, okay? Like I said, it's a group effort. The brothers seemed to glare in unison as Sero, why can't I not read right now? I don't know why. Okay. The brothers seemed to glare in unison as Sero, as did the wives. I, however, saw his point. The boys had been in the human world for over 2 years. They had missed so much here and had grown accustomed to human life. I had only been here for a day and knew that this world was much more ruthless than the human world. Yes. Sam stood and marched towards Sero, standing almost nose to nose with the guard and giving him a terrifying glare.
What makes you think we can't, prick?
I have seen with my own eyes what the Demon Lord can do in battle.
Uh-huh.
We had to live with that sack of shit for almost 100 years as his sons. You know more than you ever will.
True.
Sam, that's enough.
Yeah, stop it. We're supposed to work together, guys.
No, it's not.
Guys, not here. If you wanna dig it out in a fight, go outside into the yard. Sam and Sarah continued to glare daggers into each other's soul, anger burning in their eyes without any sign of retreat.
We had to live with the fact that our dad burnt down villages, enslaved people, and stole hundreds of lives day after day, ending his night fucking a woman who was chained to a goddamn bed. What the fuck makes you think that we don't know anything about him?
Okay, true. He does have a point. Damien seemed to flinch at Sam's word, but his angered face remained as Sero and Sam had their stare down. Sero, however, remained unfazed.
Like I said, he has completely lost his mind. If he was a monster before, he is Satan himself now. He does more than slaughter and burn villages. He takes prisoners and paints the ground with their blood while howling into the sky.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He leads legions of imp demons who do nothing but make sure their victims suffer in agony before making them beg for death. He now takes pleasure not in a bed, but in the screams of millions.
Okay, guys, we get the point. He's a crazy psychopath that needs to be killed. All right, let's just leave it at that. Okay, then let's move on to actually planning on how to kill him. In an act of defiance, Sero straightened his back and almost towered over Sam, gritting his teeth.
If anything, the reason he's as mad as he is now is because you all decided to run. So the blame for this war rests on all your shoulders.
Okay, now. Oof! Instantly, Sam's fist met Cyril's jaw and forced him back towards the door. Cyril slammed into the door and gripped his hand over his mouth, rubbing it in pain.
Sam!
Sam!
Fuck you! Do not blame this fucking war on us!
I know you're angry with him, but we need to... Cyril wiped his lips of fresh blood that began dripping from his mouth and glared, as if the punch wasn't as painful as it looked.
Arrogant mutt! The call of the human world was too tempting for you to ignore. You have forgotten about duty and responsibility.
Oh, man, you're just asking for a beating now.
We left because we were tired of the lives we had.
Uh-huh.
You left the world and everyone in it to become the victim of a madman and a world war. None of you understand what we have even sacrificed to stay alive.
No, we don't. And we never will.
Yeah, it's true. You can't change that. Like, I'm sorry that this had to happen, but like, what do you want us to do? James finally stood from the bed and placed a hand on Sam's shoulder, forcing him to step back. As Sam rejoined Carrie, who wrapped her arms around him in comfort, James looked to Sero.
But you cannot blame us for wanting to be free.
That's true. Sero, on the other hand, began to laugh. It was a painful laugh, but one full of anger.
You have no right to defend yourself, eldest son. Because of you specifically, my mistress's entire world was destroyed.
God damn, so much hate in this room. I just need to leave. Jeez. I stared wide-eyed at Sero. This was about their betrothal, but James did what was best for him. He and I didn't care about the consequences of our love, but Sero's painful words made me shake. Sero's eyes began to burn once again in jealousy at James and rage at his words.
Because of you, the only people she had in this world, her family, was brutally murdered in the most sadistic of ways. The imps painted the walls of the castle nursery in the king and queen's blood, while her unborn baby sister was ripped from the queen's womb and nailed to the wall like a hunting trophy.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ. Okay. I felt sick to my stomach just imagining it, despite not wanting to in the first place. The imagery was too much, but Sarah continued without mercy.
Asayer had to watch her kingdom burn before her eyes and listen to the screams of her people when she returned from the human world after hunting you all down. It was only after the siege when she saw the fate of her own family.
Oh. Sero finally straightened up. At the sight, he looked more powerful and strong, but his eyes burned with anger and rage as he glared at James. For the first time in my life, I saw fear running through James's eyes.
Yet you all claim innocence. You all know nothing of innocence!
God damn, I thought we were here to discuss about training and shit, not like, dragging up everybody's past and like freaking, roasting them here and now.
Enough settle!
Oh, Diana, hello. Everyone shot their heads towards Diana's voice to see her standing in the corner of the room, shrouded by shadow. However, I could faintly see tears running down Diana's cheeks despite the terrifying anger on her face towards Sero. Sero, you went too far.
You will not speak of the past again, Sero. Understood?
Yeah.
Yes, my lady.
Diana finally stepped away from the corner and stood in front of Sero and across from James, uncaring towards the rogue, tears running down her face.
What's done is done. We can't ever change the past, no matter how desperately we try. What matters now is preparing for the Demon Lord and the final battle.
Yep. God damn, that was a really intense moment. James nodded. It was a sour note to end on, but Diana's words were the truth. We couldn't linger on pointing fingers and having doubts now. Yep. Diana ran a hand through her hair and looked around the room, pressing her lips into a fine line. Oh, okay, so pretty sure this is the part where she's gonna discuss about training, I think, and also how we need to prepare the most. And I think she's gonna offer us some options on who our teacher should be. So yeah, we're gonna just skip on ahead, and then we're gonna go to the part where we actually choose who we want to train with, and then yeah, we'll decide from there. Cause I have no idea who I want to go with besides aside from Shadow, who we already done. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so. Let's see our list of choices. Wow, okay, so I totally forgot the fact that we had these two other choices, which was What About You, which was with Diana herself, maybe, oh my gosh, didn't really consider it. And then there's the other option, which is I don't need a trainer because I'm an independent woman. But I don't want that because I want to see if there's some shift in the storyline, like what we had with Shadow, or maybe it's just gonna bring us back to the whole the coup d'etat, or I don't know. There's also that one instance where it's we lose our trainer, or in that last case it was Shadow because we were too fucking nosy. So I don't know if that's gonna happen again too with if it's with a different trainer. But yeah, that's what I want to know. So let's see. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely gonna have to come back and do some of these choices again because I didn't realize that I only had the plan of choosing different trainers for each of the guys just so that I can, distribute the whole branching of the choices and shit and letting you guys see what would happen. But now that I see that we have two of these other neutral choices, then yeah, maybe we could do something about it, or I'll include it once everything is said and done, the entire series. So I don't know. Wouldn't it be such a good idea to choose Sero after we had that heated argument? After we got so heated with him and Sam punched him in the face and he seems to have some sort of animosity towards James, we choose Sero. Bruh. Let's see. I was leaning more towards either Rabbit or Faye. Let's go with Faye. Because I don't know what Faye... Okay, so Diana doesn't even know what the hell Faye would train us in, All we know is that she shrinks herself, or they shrink themselves. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's just shrink ourselves and like run away from our problems. Diana raised an eyebrow but nodded. Faye was a wild card, so who knew what they would teach me? Still, my curiosity was getting the better of me, and I knew it. I'd try it. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so Diana's gonna leave the room. I think we're gonna rest for the night, or we're gonna just actually head out and meet up with our would-be trainer. In this case, it'd be Faye. So let's skip that part. Okay. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. Everyone just kind of dispersed and went about their own, method of training. And we go and we meet Faye in the dining room, I think. Is this the dining room? I reported to a large grand hall. Okay, whatever, yeah. Apparently, it was strictly to be used for Seiro and Diana, but since training me for defense became a priority, I was given the room along with my trainer of choice, Faye. Okay. I didn't know what made me choose Faye. They were indeed a wildcard choice. Who knew what I would learn from them? I know, right? They were obviously a fairy, but what kind of abilities did fairies have in this world? I could tell that they were nothing like the fairies in fantasy fairy tales, so the idea of learning about them became a tantalizing curiosity within me. Yeah, I just want to know what the fuck you do, other than shrink yourself and flutter about. As I arrived, I saw Faye flutter about the room, wowed at the space they were given to train me. Okay.
Whoa! This room is so huge! How the heck did we get this room? When did the castle even have this room? Holy crap!
Okay, I guess we'll just see the room together, for the first time. I giggled and stepped in, watching as the fairy flew to and fro from one side of the room to the other in excitement. Hopefully they wouldn't be too distracted by the size of the room to train me. I know, right? Hey, Faye! Faye at last turned to me with a large grin and flew close to me, placing their hands behind their back.
Hiya! You ready to learn some cool tricks from a cool demon like me?
Sure. I smiled. I had picked a good trainer. Nodding, I pressed my hands on my hips. Yeah, at least they are more enthusiastic about this whole thing rather than with Shadow, who's puts me in training mode as soon as I step into the room and then just judges me all the time. Absolutely, I'm ready. Faye grinned before floating over to the far end of the room, cupping their hands together and calling out to me.
Come over here!
Okay. I tilted my head, confused a bit, but shrugged and ran forward, eventually stopping at Faye's side. They clapped in applause, which made me a bit more confused, but I bowed to them, amused. I ran across the room! Yay!
Alrighty! Now, race it to the other side!
What the fuck? What? Wait, what? Before I could question Faye, they reeled back and zipped across the room towards the far wall. I rushed behind trying to catch up, but didn't make it in time to beat Faye from touching the wall. Because you have wings, that's not fair.
I win!
But you got wings, obviously you'd be faster than me. Because you didn't warn me this was going to be a race, yeah. Faye looked at me confused before rubbing their head.
But this is training! Aren't I supposed to teach you how to be fast and dodgy and stuff?
I guess. I suddenly realized what I had gotten myself into. Faye had no idea what they were doing. Uh-oh. Oh, who the hell are you? A figure who was standing in the corner watching the whole event stepped out of the shadows, slightly surprising me as he walked up to Faye.
Boss, I think you should be teaching the human how to defend herself. Just saying.
He sounds like such a thug. Like an underling from a mafia boss. Like, boss, I don't think you should, do this. Faye turned around and flailed their arms at the figure.
Terminus! Don't tell me what to do! I can do this!
I can do this! Okay. Terminus let out a snort with an amused smirk, crossing his arms at his apparent boss and shrugged.
Alright, whatever you say. I was just making a suggestion.
Okay. Faye puffed out their cheeks at Terminus before turning back to me. I became concerned. Would I be able to learn anything from Faye other than racing? Well, I want to know how to shrink myself, then I'm Gucci. Let's get out of dodge, stay and try. Oh. I'm gonna stay and try, okay? I'm not gonna give up on this. I must commit to this. I chose who I wanted to choose, and now I'm stuck with you. I I took a moment to take a deep breath and let it out. Who knew what Faye had in store? Maybe they'd teach me how to grow wings or become small. Their abilities could be pretty useful, especially the wings. Exactly. Faye pressed a finger to their chin before suddenly getting an idea.
I know! I can teach you a really cool attack!
Okay, what is it? I suddenly became excited. An attack? I knew the training was meant for my self-defense, but having an offensive attack would prove to be very useful in the war I was essentially about to jump into. Okay, I know it's gonna be offensive attack, but don't be like showing me some next like just an uppercut or some shit, because that's pretty useless. I already know that shit. Faye grinned at me before turning to the open space and holding their hands out, closing their eyes and focusing their energy. I watched as a green orb slowly appeared before their palms, growing in size until it became the size of a baseball. Oh, okay. Faye opened their eyes and gripped it with both hands, looking at me with a grin. Okay, what is this supposed to do, though?
This is called the thorn bush.
Okay, do I throw it and then it's gonna explode to a thorn bush? Thorn bush? Faye nodded ecstatically before arching their hands back behind their head and chucking the orb forward into the space. As it impacted the ground, the orb popped like a bubble and released a cloud of green gas that covered a large portion of the floor. Okay. The gas quickly began to materialize into a web of thorny branches, stretching out over the floor and stopping just before where Faye and I stood. The branches continued to sway in the air as if they were alive. Oh, hey, nifty. Whoa. I was absolutely astonished. This seemed like a really cool trap, but was it effective? I turned my gaze to Faye to see them look at Terminus with a smug expression. Okay, somebody step into that and see if it actually works.
Hey, Terminus!
Yeah!
Walk through it.
Yeah, do it, go. With an amused grin and a roll of his eyes, Eternimus summoned his spear and walked forward into the area where the bush had made claim. I watched in curiosity, wondering what the thorn bush would do. Yeah. I gasped as the branches closest to Eternimus began to lash out and strike at him, only to be blocked and cut down by his spear. With a concentrated expression, Eternimus began to cut through the bush, driving it back slowly but surely. I mean, it's good enough to slow down people, so it's alright. It's alright. While I understood that he knew about how to deflect Faye's trap, it was an interesting spell nonetheless. If anything, it was able to slow down enemies and attack them as I went on. A good distraction. Yes, exactly. As Eterminus reached the center, he rammed his spear into the spot where the brush sprouted from, causing the branches around him to wither and die, fading into the air like they were never there. Wow, that was impressive. Pretty cool, interesting. That was pretty cool. I admit, I'm gonna give you that. That was pretty cool. I like it. I had to admit it looked really cool even to the end. It was very effective and I was going to learn it. Go me, yes. Faye turned and smiled at me, bobbing a bit in the air in excitement.
Isn't it? It's one of my favorite trap spells. What's even cooler is that if you throw it at a person, they'll be covered in thorns and won't be able to fight back.
Ooh, then I'ma definitely throw it at people. That was a game changer. I stared at Faye, shocked. It really could do stuff like that. Then again, there wasn't really a good way to test it because none of us wanted to be on the receiving end of the spell and there were no training dummies in the room. Yeah, but whatever, as long as that works then it's all good. It's good to know. I had to take their word for it. Or, you know what, I'm gonna try it out on the battlefield. It's like, fuck it. Faye grinned before crossing their legs, sitting in the air, pondering.
What else to show you?
How about shrinking myself? Would that be effective? I don't know. Terminus looked over and shook his head, walking back to his corner.
Make the human try what you just did first before showing us something new.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
Faye looked over at me and waved their hands out into the room, gesturing me to do what they did. It was mildly adorable to see them do that, but I shook my thoughts out and focused on trying to replicate what Faye did. Just think if it's shadow and you do the shadow thing, then if it's plants and thorns, you take a thorn and just compress it. I don't know. I looked at my hands, trying to focus on forming the green orb in my hands. I began to imagine it, hoping it would spark my energy to perform the spell, but I found that imagination wouldn't work, or at least wasn't enough. I glared at the back of my hands, trying to figure it out. Faye floated beside me and looked at my hands as well, tapping their chin.
Maybe if you squint really hard or something.
If I squint? Faye. I turned my head to Faye, not wanting to be a bad student, but needing the teacher to actually teach me. Faye floated back a bit, placing their hands in front of them by their chest.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's like,
Just tell me what you do. Just like, what am I supposed to feel kind of thing. What am I supposed to think? Like what?
well, I mean, you're a human, and I don't exactly know if you have magic and stuff. Like,
Well, I do. I actually do, alright? Like, chill. They wiggled their arms beside them, flailing a bit before flying around me and scratching their head.
like, root demons have, like, rage energy to battle, and then Diana has her ooh la la kind of sexual energy or whatever to power her powers. But for me, it just comes naturally, you know? I just think about it and poof, it happens. But I'm a demon, so it's supposed to happen.
Okay, so I guess I just gotta think the same way you do. Ugh, fine. I nodded, understanding what they meant, but I pressed forward, knowing humans could perform magic if they wanted to. We had energy too, after all. Yeah, just very different kind of energy. Well, can you show it to me again, or maybe do it with me or something? Yeah. Faye tapped their chin, listening to me before nodding and turning to the side. They pointed their hands out and focused on their fingers, which caused me to turn and do the same. I stared as Faye took a breath and mimicked them perfectly. I was going to do this one way or another. Yes, exactly. I looked at my hands and tried to focus one more time. I tried to imagine my energy flowing into my hands and forming the green orb, hoping it would spur the action to happen. Come on, baby, come on. Don't be shy. Finally, something in my mind clicked. I closed my eyes and focused on my breathing, feeling the air flow through my body. I began to mentally scour my body, taking note of the inhales and exhales I released before figuring it out. Why? What? Maybe it's a breathing thing. I concentrated on the air in my body, imagining it to be the energy I imagined myself to have. Like that, I felt very faint waves pulse through my body, confirming that I indeed had energy to use and a lot of it. Okay, so it's like, you know, the amount of air that you release and shit is how you connect with your inner energy and your chi and whatever the fuck you want to call it. I smiled and looked to my hands again, knowing and feeling the energy within me before committing to call it forward into a green orb. Obediently, my energy began to flow into my hands, making them blow lightly before forming an orb just in front of my palms. It began to pulse and grow in size, making Faye look over and gasp. There she is!
Holy crap, you're doing it! You're doing it!
I know, right? Just gotta take a moment to think about it, and then yeah. I grinned from ear to ear as I continued to focus on the orb. Once it became the size of both my hands, I grasped onto it and pulled it over my head before chucking it into the empty room. Just like Faye's orb, mine popped once it crashed into the floor and formed large strings and lines of thorny branches, waving creepily in the air and releasing a threatening appearance. I couldn't have been prouder of myself. Yeah! I did it! Faye zipped through the air happily, punching their fists into the air.
Yeah! You did it!
Yay! Oh my god, the only instructor that offers me encouragement so far. I couldn't help but jump a bit as well. It was tough, but I had managed to pull it off. I felt a slight tingle in my hands and arms from using energy, but I didn't mind. Faye finally floated over to me and grabbed my hands, shaking them in joy.
We're gonna have so much fun training!
Oh really? Oh my god, I can't wait.
I guess I don't have to ask if everything is okay in here.
Yeah, Dana, oh my god, look what I did! Aren't you so proud of me? Faye and I turned our heads to see Diana leaning against the doorway with a small smirk. I smiled a bit and nodded, looking to the magic I had performed that was still wriggling in the center of the room. Faye released my hands and flew over to Diana, grabbing the succubus's hand and pulling her into the room.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Look! Isn't it so impressive? It's the second best spell I know and she mastered it!
What? Oh, it's the second best spell. You really? Oh, okay, so what's the best spell you know? Can you teach me that? Wait, what? I stared at Faye in shock. This was their second best spell. They really trusted me to learn it and it was the second best. What was the first? What was the last? Yeah, exactly. Diana observed the branch monster I had essentially summoned and nodded with a chuckle.
I told you, she's a powerhouse of energy. I'm not surprised that she could pull this off.
Oh, homegirl, you don't need to compliment me like that. I felt a bit flattered that Diana believed in me, but Faye flew around Diana and flicked the succubus's hair, making Diana jump a bit and glare at the flying demon.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me that she was awesome!
Right? Oh my god, I'm like so good at this, you guys. I got this. Diana chuckled a bit before letting out a sigh with a shake of her head.
I'll leave you be then. Have fun, dears.
Yep. Will do. Try not to like fucking trash the room. Faye was grinning from ear to ear as Diana turned on her heel and walked away. As soon as she left the room, Faye spun around me and lifted themselves higher into the air.
Alrighty, let's make you the master of the thorn bush.
Oh, okay, so can I make it bigger? That'd be nice. I laughed and felt excitement rush through my veins. This is going to be fun. Oh wow, train till night. We spent the entire day focusing on how to make the spell happen quicker, faster, and come more naturally to me. I left exhausted but thrilled. I left exhausted but thrilled at what I was now able to do. Yeah, right? Accomplishment. Achievement unlocked. I returned to my room that night wondering how things had come to this. My body was exhausted, but my mind was running 100 miles an hour. I had to physically be near the Demon Lord while he died. How specific was this curse? Very specific. As I sat on the bed, I ran my hands through my hair and over my face, attempting to ease the nerves beneath my skin. Despite it not working as well as I'd hoped, I found my mind organizing my thoughts constructively. I was training for a reason after all. Yes. I was working to make sure I survived this war and was able to go home with James, the man I loved, and marry him. Yeah, and live happily ever after. However, just thinking about him brought back memories of Sero screaming and Diana crying. Was it really James's fault that Diana's family was killed? All James wanted was freedom. I'm sure it was just a whole domino effect of, what the events that happened, alright, in the first game. I'm sorry, like, it happened. Oh yeah, by the way, I totally forgot, like, this just occurred to me was that before the whole nightmare sequence with James locking us up in the dungeon, we had this little, like, I don't know, this happening with voices and shit. How somebody wanted to set the Destiny Stone or Stone Destiny or some shit, some sort of stone that would change the course of the action. And yeah, that was that. We don't know who the voices belong to, but yeah, apparently a Stone Destiny is in place, and I don't know what that is all about. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, maybe we'll find out as we go along, and his are out right now. So yeah. Hello, James. As I thought of him, James entered the room and spotted me, a tired smile growing on his face. I smiled back, matching his exhaustion.
You look worn out.
Well, you do too. So do you. James chuckled slightly and walked over, sitting beside me. I felt myself instinctively scoot closer to his body and lay my head on his shoulder. That simple move made my body almost sink into his. When did James ever feel this warm? Like all the time. I don't know. James's arms wrapped around my waist and pulled me closer as he placed a kiss on my head. I could only hum happily.
So, about sleeping tonight.
Why? What about sleeping tonight? I looked up to James, wondering where the question came from. It was random, and I didn't understand what he meant until I stretched back into my thoughts. Wait. Oh, the angels, right. Right. Would they honestly really visit me, like, again, even when they just did this morning or last night? Really? Like, ugh. James nodded. He was right. How was I supposed to sleep when angels were after me? They could reach into my dreams and remove my memories without me being able to fight back, at least not without Sero's or Diana's help. It wasn't fair to depend on them, especially after remembering what Sero confessed this morning. Yeah, he was he's pretty mad. James, however, gently turned me in his arms to face him. I looked up at him, wondering what he was up to. What are you doing? Stay quiet. What are you doing? What are you doing? I had to ask. I trusted him, but I still wanted to know what he was thinking and planning. James continued to stare into my eyes before frowning softly.
I want to try and do something, but I'm not sure if it will work.
Okay.
It's been years since I've used pure demon magic, after all.
Okay. Well, I'm up for it, as long as it doesn't kill me. Well, what did he mean? Was he going to cast some sort of spell on me? What kind of spell was he going to use? I stared at James, unsure of the whole thing, but James kissed my forehead. Yeah, I trust you, but it's just, yeah.
Please, trust me, love.
Okay, yeah, I will. It took a moment for me to slowly ease my curious nerves. James just wanted to help, and if this was the way, then this was the way, yeah. I nodded, giving him the okay to do whatever he needed to do. James gently ran his thumbs over the side of my face, tracing over the edges of my eyes and cheekbones. I felt small wisps of energy dance over my nerves and closed my eyes gently, becoming lost in the sensation. I could faintly see golden light piercing through the darkness of my eyelids, so I kept my eyes closed, confident that it was the best thing to do. A warmth enveloped my head, filling my thoughts with pure calm and serenity. It felt almost too unreal. As the light faded away, I opened my eyes to meet the loving gaze of my incubus. He gently caressed my cheeks and placed his forehead against mine, closing his eyes with a smile. I felt joy wash over me as he held me. I felt joy wash over me as he held my head close to him. What did you do, though?
There. That should work.
What should work? Yeah, what did you do?
A small mind barrier spell. It's been a long time since I've used a spell like that. Simple, but hopefully effective.
Okay. Alright, I'm down for that. I nodded before gently nuzzling James. It had to work. It absolutely had to work. My heart swelled in hope that everything would be okay, right? Or else I would just end up waking up with no memories. That would be horrible. Kiss him before sleeping. Hug him. Just go to sleep. Kiss him. Thanks, babe, for the mind barrier protective spell. Yeah. I gently stretched up and kissed him softly on the lips. He gently kissed me back and held my head to him, pressing me to his chest lovingly. I could feel him sneak a bit of energy from me, but I didn't mind. Yeah, I didn't mind. I didn't mind. As we both lay back in bed to sleep that night, James's spell was tested. Oh, and I think I'm going to end it here, you guys. Well, what a cliffhanger. Will James's mind barrier spell work, or would it just everything just go to shit, and we'd be forced into like this whole mental dream battle with the angels again? Anyways, that is to be left into the next episode. So I'm going to end it here, and then we'll continue and we'll get our answers then. So for now, you guys, bye!